What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another FPL video. My name is Mo, and in this video today we'll be going through the transfer tips, or who are the most transferred in and out players for game week 6. So game week 5 is still taking place. The games today have finished. There's one game left in game week 5, which is Manchester United versus Leicester. So I'm sure there's a few players now still to play for some managers, and the ranks will continue to change. So we'll discuss who the popular transfers are, who we're looking to buy, sell, keep, and maybe avoid as well. So if you like the video, give us a like, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button. The channel is growing absolutely quickly and the family continues to grow. So let's review how game week 5 has gone for me so far. I've kind of finished out. I've gone all out at the moment in terms of players. So at the moment, I'm sitting on 78 points. So once the whole kind of game finishes for this game week, the FPL website will update with all the points coming in from the bench. So it will get revised in terms of rank. But as we stand at the moment, I've got 78. But my first substitute on the bench who will come on for Rhys James is Andres Pereira, who you guys can't see on screen because I can't get the whole team and the score in one frame. But that'll make my overall team score for game week 5, 84. Now, what that does to my rank, so I began the game week around 1.54 mil. I've gone up 800,000 spaces, so I'm in the top 700,000 managers now. So absolutely brilliant. A massive green arrow. Really happy with how it's gone so far. And I've got no complaints. Yes, I could have captained Haaland, but in hindsight, Salah still got me 10 points. So not too much of a loss. The 2 assists did indeed help. So there's plenty of players that have, gone in favour. People are looking into bringing in. People have kind of got fed up and want to get rid of, and people who are like scouting at the moment, so looking to bring in. And some people are just looking to keep on to some assets which they've had patience with, and maybe it's time they're hitting a bit of form. And there are some players that we'll discuss that I personally think, in my opinion, that you guys should look to avoid in game week 6. So let's start off with Liverpool, because that was the last game of this evening, and what a game it was. So Liverpool won against Newcastle in the 8th minute of stoppage time. Now, people can talk about, why was there so much time added on, even though there was 5 minutes added on in total. But, Newcastle, they played the game of wasting time. And I think, at the end, the ref did the right thing. I think we should get the full 90 minutes in. And if that means that Liverpool get 8 minutes rather than 5 because there's been time wasting, spot on. The refereeing and officiating, absolutely fine. But this guy is coming in at number 1 for me, is Nunez. And I'll tell you why he's coming in. It's because this guy, before he got the red card, which was an idiotic move by him to headbutt someone, he was literally, in everyone's plans, thoughts to come into their squads. And guess who they've got this weekend, guys? They've got Everton away. So Everton, haven't looked, the team they were maybe, a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago under, Martinez. But I think generally that Liverpool now, with that win, will capture a lot of confidence. And going into that derby, they're obviously favourites. But it's going to add a lot of kind of aerial presence and a bit of physical presence to the front line of Liverpool, which I think they've missed without Sadio Mane, and obviously Nunez not been available for the last couple of games due to suspension. But overall, this guy is the whole package, in my opinion. And I'm so tempted at the moment, just when I look at my wild card in a couple of game weeks, he could be, someone who comes in as a third striker. So I might kind of, move away from the 5 at the back and kind of go 4-3-3 or even 3-4-3. I'm not too sure how I'm going to make that work. But this guy's on my watch list, and I'm watching him with a very close eye, especially this weekend, because if he does well, yes, there's some difficult fixtures afterwards. They've got Wolves. Chelsea away is going to be a hard fixture. Brighton at home is not going to be easy either. And then Arsenal away and Manchester City at home. So maybe I might not consider him immediately during these game weeks. But if he hits a bit of form, then why not? If I'm looking to play a wild card and the fixtures take a swing, and maybe Diaz isn't performing, or there's other players in my lineup that are not hitting form, this guy is going to be on the radar, and he's an absolute fine player up front, and he will send shivers down other defenders and backlines through, with him being present on the pitch. Second, we've talked about him before this week, earlier in my videos as well. Raheem Sterling, 3 goals in the last 2 games. Look, in terms of the attack for Chelsea, they've been disappointing, and I've seen the memes around, Tuchel, how many defenders does he need? Is he going to buy more defenders? They've spent around £300 million on their back line. But this guy's kind of gone under the radar. Now, it might be because of, Manchester City days and, people are just not paying attention to him, but he's still done extremely well. And his price tag of 10 mil, if you compare him to other players around that price for the midfield, you've got players like Sonny's outscored, Bruno Fernandes, he's outscored. So there are players in there that he's actually done better than, and his minutes aren't a concern because I think he will play most game weeks, and his fitness is incredible. West Ham at home. West Ham got a point today against Spurs. Very lucky in my opinion. Spurs should have won that game. I do not know how they did not win. So that's a really good fixture to target. So if you're looking to move away maybe from the template kind of picks and you're really interested in Raheem Sterling, this might be the best time to buy him now. He's in a bit of form, and let's look at his fixtures. West Ham at home, Fulham away. Liverpool at home is going to be a tough game, but then Crystal Palace, Wolves and Aston Villa, I can see some really big scores coming up for him. Am I going to be tempted to bring him in this week after how it's gone for me so far? Probably not. If I'd had a disastrous week, then maybe I could have considered bringing him in. But at the moment, he's definitely on the radar. The fixtures are looking good for Chelsea, and if he's nailed to play up front, I know there's rumours about Aubameyang coming in and there's advanced talks, but let's not worry about that for now. But this guy should be focused on, because Aubameyang or no Aubameyang, Raheem Sterling for 10 mil. In the next couple of game weeks, maybe a player that we all look forward to bringing into our squads. Then moving on to Rodrigo, unfortunate to get a shoulder injury. I actually wish him a real speedy recovery, and we look to see him as soon as possible back in the Premier League. But from my experience and my knowledge around injuries and shoulder dislocations, he won't be returning, in my opinion, if it's from what I saw on the him leaving in terms of a stretcher and oxygen. I don't think he should be available for the weekend game against Brentford. Now, he could be available for the Nottingham Forest game, but then there's an international break before they play Manchester United, so you might even go 2 weeks without Rodrigo. Now, with a player who's 6 to 6.5 million, dependent on when you got him into your squad, is that a player that you really can afford with your squad? If you have the depth, brilliant. If you've got someone to come on from your bench and you don't mind him being on your bench whilst he's injured, absolutely fine. But if you're looking at alternatives, there are some really good players that you can actually look to target. If you don't have Martinelli, he's scored again, you can bring him into your squad. Other 6 million players around that, potentially Rashford if you're excited by the way he's played, but I personally have said I would avoid him. Wilfred Zaha, so if you've got the budget, or you can make 2 moves and get some spare cash, you can actually spend a bit more on Wilfred Zaha and bring him into your squad. So there are alternatives that you can look at, maybe even Bernardo Silva or Gundogan if you've got more budget than for Zaha to hit them into your squad, just to make sure you have a playing outfield player for that much around budget in your squad. So Rodrigo, unfortunately, I think he should be back for the Manchester United game, and even after that, the fixtures do look pretty decent. Aston Villa at home, Crystal Palace away, and then Arsenal at home will be a tough fixture, but Leeds have played above their kind of expectations, and this guy has been the focal point of it. But for now, I would say personally sell him, because we just don't know the length and the extent of the injury, and you don't want to lose value on him because he will be one of the highest transferred players out before this weekend, the way things are looking in terms of shake-ups and players people may want to take out just for the time being to make sure they have a starting 11 solid with the budget they invest in their players. So definitely worth considering, guys. Get in there before you lose money in terms of team and player value. And I've talked about this the last couple of weeks to be a bit more patient, but I think my patience personally has run out with Mason Mount. Now I'm literally saying to you guys, I think it's worthwhile you moving away from him. So sell potentially is a good idea. Look elsewhere. We talked about Rodrigo replacements. Those are the same players you can look around, maybe even Gundogan, Foden as well, if you've got a bit more cash to, go to the 8 mil option, because Foden has been playing really well. Yes, minutes again will be an issue, but he's got minutes so far this season, and I think his returns are really good, and City's fixtures are pretty decent over the next couple of game weeks. But Mason Mount as a whole at the moment hasn't impressed, doesn't look in any form. Fixtures do look great, but I think personally, if I was an owner of him, I think you guys have done well holding him for 5 weeks. There are alternative players for you to target, and I think this is a good time for you to move away from Mason Mount. And here he is, of course. So we're talking about the keep option. So yes, I know there's going to be a lot of knee-jerking this week, and people will look to move players around. And Zaha did do well, but you'd be surprised there are still managers who are actually taking him out of their squad because they want to bring in other players, and that's absolutely understandable. There's nearly 10 million managers active on the game, and this is the start of the season, so there's going to be a lot of movements, guys. As much as we find it shocking, there's even players, as managers are taking out players like Haaland, you'll see those transfers being made. You just think, if the guy's got back-to-back hat-tricks, what is going through someone's mind before they kind of make that transfer? So for me, keep Zaha. Fixtures look good. Newcastle played well against Liverpool, but defensively, I think if anyone's going to challenge him in the current form from the Crystal Palace side, definitely is going to be Wilfred Zaha. And then there's Manchester United. Again, it looks tough, but they're at home. And Manchester United defensively, yes, they've done well 2 games in a row. Have they turned the curve? This guy's done it before in the past against them, and I'm sure he's going to test them again. And then Brighton away, Chelsea's going to be a tough game. Leeds at home is going to be a very open game. And then Leicester away, I think, which will be a decent fixture as well. So Wilfred Zaha on penalties, around the 7.5 million mark. A really good player. Do not knee-jerk away from him. Yes, he's got 4 and 4. And by law of averages, there is going to be a phase now where he should dry up in terms of returns. But if he's doing well and he's in your team, guys, keep him until that time comes. With the fixtures coming along, I think definitely he's worth a keep. The next player is Rhys James. So in my team, I kept him. I would say definitely keep him. There's good news, guys, and I thought I'd update you guys in this video around his fitness. He has been back in training with Chelsea today, so that's good news, and I think he should be available for the West Ham fixture. Rhys James, not in the Chelsea side. We saw how limited they were in terms of going forward and providing opportunities for them to win that game in the Southampton game. But this guy coming back, I think Tuchel needs to move away from this concept of 4 at the back. He needs to play 5, 2 wing backs. Rhys James will be right wing back, I'm pretty certain now, with the Fofana signing. But West Ham at home is going to be a good game for them, and Fulham away, so I'm expecting a big haul definitely in the next 5 to 6 game weeks that we have of Chelsea coming up. So Rhys James, guys, if you haven't moved away from him like I did, definitely keep him in your squad. And next, moving on to the category of avoid. Yes, I talked about this last week as well, but Firmino scored again. Great, but Núñez is back, guys, so don't go jumping onto Firmino because he's a guaranteed starter. He may start against Everton and Núñez comes on and eases his way back in, for sure. But if I had to make a choice between the 2 forwards of Núñez and Firmino, 100% every single week I would go for Núñez because I just think he's a far better option in an FPL world. Fixtures, we've already talked about Liverpool as well, but Firmino for me, no. Yes, he's got a couple of returns in the last couple of games, Bournemouth and Newcastle, but no. Stay away, guys. Don't get tempted. Don't be lured into getting him in. You're going to take a third option of Liverpool potential or another option of Liverpool, and there are better options in his position in the same side in terms of Darwin Núñez. Last but not least is Odegaard. He's had a good couple of game weeks, and there's a lot of people that are like jumping left, right, centre to get him into their squads. Taking hits. I fully understand it, guys, but for me, there are better options than his team. I still think Martinelli at his price is a far better option, and he got that goal against Villa this week as well. So Odegaard, yes, there's a lot of buzz around him. Yes, a lot of managers have brought him in. Yes, he's done well, fixture and form-wise. But I just don't see it in the long run, guys. It might come back to bite me. He may do well on the weekend against Manchester United. We don't know. But in my honest opinion, if I was weighing out options, that there are better alternatives, I think Saka's a better option. So if you've got the funds to invest within him, for sure. Most certainly Martinelli, Jesus, Ramsdale, Gabriel, even Tomiyasu, Kian Tierney, Zinchenko when fit. There are so many better options in that Arsenal squad right now. 5 out of 5. Yes, fixtures look decent as well in terms of Manchester United, Everton, Brentford, Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds. So they do get tough in between as well. So it's a nice little mixture. But overall, I would say, for me, I'd avoid Odegaard. I wouldn't bring him into my squad. I wouldn't use a transfer on him, and I wouldn't take another Arsenal spot in terms of, even being your third Arsenal player. I don't think he warrants that position. So that's the video, guys. For Game Week 6, buy, hold, sell, keep, scout, avoid, everything in your video in one. So these are the players that I'm looking at in terms of Game Week 6. Let me know what your thoughts are. Give us a like, hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. We got over 100 likes, guys, on my last video for the first ever time. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can get it again. Also, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, why not? The channel is growing so quickly, guys, and I want to thank you all for your contributions and your comments and your praise. I really appreciate your feedback, so thank you so much. Have a lovely week. Be in touch if I can help you with anything. Watch the content. Make sure you make your transfers early. Do not miss the deadline, which is on Saturday. I'll be here with a live deadline stream as well. Have a good one, guys. I hope the week ends for Game Week 5 well for you if you do have Leicester and Manchester United players. Till then, take care, and I'll be back with some new content very soon.